Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hey, welcome to the Hoosier Shoot Academy podcast, A Step Above. What we're trying to do is give you advice and some thoughts and opinions from professionals and people that have been to where you want to go. And today I have Jhared Simpson. I'm not going to lie, this is my first time ever meeting you in person. I don't know much about Jhared. I know he was with the Fever. I know he's a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to dig into that. And hopefully you guys are taking notes because we're going to say some good stuff here. So, Jhared, without further ado, I want you to jump in. I want you to talk about yourself. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Your playing experience, coaching experience, and where you're at now.
Okay, nice. Yeah, going way back. Well, I was born in Alabama actually, but I grew up in Milwaukee.
Okay.
So I'm a Midwest kid. I played Division II ball actually in West Virginia, called Wheeling Jesuit University, now called Wheeling University.
Yep.
And
I have a good friend that worked there.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
at UND now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, did that for 4 years. Was there, graduated, and then actually got an internship with the Indiana Pacers. Going back, my head coach used to be the assistant for Jim O'Brien, and Jim O'Brien got the head job in 2007
With Granger.
Yep, with the Pacers, and brought out his old head coach, who was my head coach at Wheeling Jesuit University, and he ended up bringing me out as an internship. So I was in the video room breaking down film and just absolutely fell in love with the pro game.
Yeah.
So the program was great. Did that for 2 years. Actually went back to school, back to Jesuit, did my GA where I started really coaching, and loved it. Fell in love with coaching. Actually got an opportunity to come back to the Pacers under Frank Vogel, who's the head coach. Actually, we grew a relationship when I was an intern. So he got the head job, did the Eastern Conference playoffs, got knocked out by LeBron a couple times, which was tough. But did that and kind of been with the Pacers organization ever since then. So I moved on and went with Fort Wayne, with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. And then I also just finished up, like you said, with the Indiana Fever.
So all your coaching career has been professional.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your main focus. So you went from the video room to player development. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had a really small staff, so I was kind of video and player development at the same time.
Can you talk about how those two correlate? Like, what were you looking at in the video room? What were you looking at to translate? And this is a lot of young coaches, and I tell this to people: watch video. And I tell kids, I try to give a case study. So, for example, you see my body size. I'm 6'2", I'm big, but I'm not going to be John Morant.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still move. So I want people to still, like, hey, don't look at Allen Iverson. That's not your skill set. Don't look at Steve Nash. But, look at someone like an Alonzo Mourning. And so those video guys and those young players, you can steal stuff for them.
Yeah.
But talk about a situation where you saw something on the video, A, that you liked, and B, that you didn't like, and how they correlated, and what did you do to fix that?
Well, being a video guy allows you to kind of learn without any consequence, especially if you want to get into coaching. So you're back there kind of getting your bachelor's degree in pro basketball. It's kind of how I like to look at it. So I learned a lot. I watched a ton of film. I learned the league. I learned guys. We were breaking down all the film and giving it to the coaches and also helping write scouting reports. So I knew the league really well. So being able to compare certain guys' skill sets to others was big. Had a great relationship with Paul George. And one of the things, he had some of the greatest feet. So he can get his feet down really quick. So we would watch some things on Reggie Miller. Somebody else who could shoot the ball well off pin downs and getting their feet set. So you can kind of see some things that corresponded or correlated that you can apply from one player to another for sure. Breaking down film, watching film, and kind of learning the game that way.
Now, I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and it's going to get a little negative, but we're staying as nameless as possible. But could you talk about any failures that you may have had, being that like, oh, I saw this, I tried to bring it to a player, and that didn't fit in his game, and talk about like, everybody wants to be Kyrie Irving, and then you try to give Paul George Kyrie's package, and those body types don't match up. Did you ever have anything like that?
Not pro to pro, because a lot of those guys can pick up things pretty quick, but I have started some skill development things with a younger player that maybe they weren't ready for.
Okay.
You got to build a great foundation and get your fundamentals right first before you get to a lot of these higher, more advanced skill moves. So me being with pros, I have to kind of back up what I teach so I can get the foundation right when I work with people who aren't at that level quite yet.
I want to dig into that. And instead of, and I get a lot of people, fundamentals. Describe the fundamentals, like specifically what fundamentals I know what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
but what are other people that don't know the word fundamentals?
Well, what age group you talking about?
You can talk about it all. You could pick one. You could pick one.
I would say a big. This is kind of what I've seen is great players all kind of do the same thing, and in my opinion, they can handle the ball and get downhill, and they make layups. Those are two big things that I see, and I think that kind of correlates as you get older. If you walk into a gym and you're walking in and watching a third grade group, usually the best player can drive the ball downhill and finish at the rim. And that carries on through high school. They can get downhill and finish. And that carries on to the LeBrons and all the people, the John Morants, like you just mentioned, that can get downhill and finish. So I think a lot of it, the fundamentals start with ball handling and finishing at the basket. With a younger group, you're kind of working on coordination and motor skills. And then footwork is a big one. I think those are good places to start for younger players. And then from there, you start to branch off.
Yeah.
So whatever you kind of want to move towards, but ball handling is going to be big, especially the way the game's being played now. You got centers who can bring the ball down. You got guards that also bring the ball down fast. But I think it starts there. Ball handling, finishing are two big ones that you need to really focus on.
When you first start with ball handling, how does Jhared warm up the ball? Like, what does it look like for him?
Playing Jhared or coaching Jhared?
Let's get in the ball. Get in the ball. What does playing Jhared do?
Playing Jhared, kind of like a lot of other kids, kind of just started shooting the ball just right away. But coaching Jhared, I think it's good to just kind of get a good feel for the ball stops, ball handling. Some people are against two ball. Some people like two ball. I'm a two ball guy. I think it's good to throw it in there. If you can handle one, you can handle two. So handling the ball that way, I'm kind of with the cones, kind of not. I kind of more so teach drill work, short and sharp stuff like pound pickups are a big thing for me. So handling into shots is another good thing. But if you want to start two balls and maybe a tennis ball is a good place to start for you.
I like the fact that you're flexible,
Mm-hmm.
and it was funny because you met Justin. We have a conversation all the time, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, he said something that kind of said with me like, I could be convinced at anything at any time. He goes, you want to tell me Kobe's the greatest? I'll look at you and I'll be like, yeah, Kobe's the greatest. I could walk in a room and be like, LeBron's the greatest. I'd agree with you. And then I walk into another room. And so the flexibility of like, I like how open you are because, and this is, I'm going to throw some shade at myself. I'm a two ball guy. Like if you go to Vegas and you see me do a clinic, you say, I bet he starts with two ball. You win your money back every time. It's just the way it's ingrained in me. I know myself and it's not good. Like I'm actually trying to branch out and trying to become I need a better warm up because even I've checked out on two ball a little bit where it's just so repetitive and I need to challenge myself. But the fact that you are so open minded, like I agree with two ball, but I could also be convinced that two ball is not good. And I think that's a sign of a good coach and a good trainer.
Yeah, I think anything can work if you're working at the right stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you're working on the right things, the right fundamentals, how to pick up the ball, how to pound it hard, or whatever it is, if you're focused on the right things, they all apply to all those drills. So just making sure you're just not out there casually doing it, but really working on your game, really working on your technique.
You said something, and I see the struggle, the pickup. I call it a dirty pickup and a clean pickup. And I rumored that I stole that from Paul George. And so if there's a correlation there, I totally stole it from him. But a dirty pickup is a flat wrist, boom, here. What are the signs? What are you looking for exactly on a clean pickup?
Well, how I like to explain it is like you want a good pass from your teammate.
Ooh.
And how you pick up the ball is how you passing the ball to yourself to get into a shot. So I don't want to pick it up just anywhere and bring it across my body, but picking it up clean, bringing the ball to where I like it to my shot pocket is huge. Bring it to your shot pocket. Bring it to your shot pocket because you can always get it there. Or you can create enough space to get it there. So that's a big one for me. Yeah, I'm not huge with that dead wrist, but that fingertips up is a big thing.
And you call it a dead wrist?
Yeah, you like dead like that.
Okay. I'm stealing right now. I'm learning.
Bring it to your shot pocket. So if I'm picking it up out of my left hand, that last dribble's in my left hand, I'm putting it in my right hand.
I got a secret for you, by the way.
What?
I gotta be honest with you. I didn't ask you to be out here for them. I asked you to be out here.
That's cool.
I'm stealing ideas, man.
I can talk hoop. I can talk basketball, whatever. You got me hyped now. So bringing the ball into the pocket, having those fingertips up is a big thing. And if it's in your right hand, you're bringing it right up to that pocket straight up and knocking it down. But yeah, that pickup is huge. So I'll do a lot of stuff where the ball handling into that pickup is kind of the second part to the warm up.
Yeah.
Getting into that shot.
And this is a quote that I found, and I've manipulated it to my own.
Mm-hmm.
But Bruce Lee said, "I don't fear the man with 10,000 kicks. I fear the man's taking the same kick 10,000 times."
Mm-hmm.
And I tell the boys, I don't fear a boy that's taking 10,000 shots.
Mm-hmm.
I fear the boy that's taking the same shot 10,000 times.
Right.
And if you have different pickups, you have different shots.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can correlate the same shot every single time to make it more efficient. So
yeah, for sure. It's not, it's about mastery. So you want to master that thing. I see a lot of kids that work on something until they get it right, but you want to work on something to where you can't get it wrong. So working on that over and over and over again until it becomes who you are and what you do, and you can knock it down with your eyes closed. That's a big thing.
And you see a lot of people, though, start to check out around that mastery part. Mm-hmm. That's normally where the goods fall off from becoming great. Would you agree?
100%. 100%. They think that that's the roof and they can't get any better because they finally got it. But no, it's a whole nother level to that skill set.
And you can tell me I'm wrong on this, but in the pros, like they're focusing on that mastery. Like I heard something. It was simple drills pay the bills, and you think that as a parent coming in and you would watch, Halliburton warm up. Oh, he's probably going between the legs, doing all this, doing all that. I got to watch Ray Allen warm up one time. He shot for an hour and a half before he took his first three.
Yeah.
It was the most boring workout I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm just like,
yeah. That's it. I mean, that's it. That's when the great of the greats, the 1%. They're staying in that mastery level, working on stuff, and it may feel as if though it's boring, but to them they're really locking in and being precise with what they're working on. Maybe it's just one simple thing they're focused on to get right, and they'll do that 1,000 times.
And talking about the human nature of starting to check out a little bit, and it's a two-headed question of the player and what do they do, but then also as a coach, what do you do to challenge them to kind of what are your thoughts on pushing them to mastery, if that makes sense, when they start to check out, or do they?
Yeah. Growth comes when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you got to keep it fresh for them, even though you may still be working on the same thing. Usually at the pro level, with the pros, the all-stars, the Aaliyah Bostons, the Caitlin Clarks, and all those, they are already at that level. They kind of know what that is. So they're hungry to continue to work and continue to do that stuff. But for the most part, it's about making it challenging enough to where it feels like they're getting better, for sure. You have to make it hard enough, whether it's something where you get them more tired this time and do the same drill, or maybe now you bring out defense, or maybe they're making more reads and it's a mental day where they're really developing the mental side of this skill. When do I pull this out? When do I go to my counter or whatever? So it's different ways to work on the same thing. It may be mental, maybe physical, may just be learning the technique itself. But as you grow through that level of mastery, you want to continue to make it harder, even though.
Do you data track anything? Is that part of the things that you guys use, or is that?
We data track more game stuff. There are, with the NOAA system and stuff, obviously you can track that stuff. You see that a lot in the NBA.
Yeah.
But we don't track stuff as far as training.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something I would love to do a little bit more of. But yeah, we don't do it right now because we don't have the tech yet.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We should develop something like that.
Yeah, you should develop something like that.
Got some ideas.
Might have some ideas.
Get some ideas in here.
I love it.
Oh, man.
Let's get it going.
That's awesome. So it's funny because something that you said that I picked up on a while ago, I asked you a question. You're like, do you want player Jhared or do you want coach Jhared?
Yeah, it's two different ones.
Let's reflect a little bit. And let's take coach Jhared. Now, you're 17 years old. We got those fresh knees. We got the six-pack. Mm-hmm. We could eat Doritos.
And you look good.
Oh, and the girls were still. Anyway, what would you change if you go back in time? You know everything you know now. You put your brain in little Jhared's body. What would you change?
I would probably focus mostly, like you said, the nutrition aspect. I think that's a big thing that's kind of under talked about, but you hear it a lot when you hear people talk about a young LeBron. Like he was always fueling, hydrating, and eating berries and all that stuff, and really focusing on that part is a big thing I think I would stay with. And I never had the access to a trainer.
Yeah.
I was kind of in the gym by myself or with my father, working on my game. So I would probably seek out somebody who could teach me things that I didn't know. I was kind of just doing what I saw on TV. When I came up, the N1 mixtape was hot, so I was out there. I was out there trying to throw the ball, put it in my shirt, spin around, stuff like that, wasting time. So I would love to have somebody to kind of deter me from doing stuff like that. But no, that's the two things I'll probably focus on for sure: is the nutrition and actually getting a real trainer.
If you don't mind, how old are you?
I am 38 right now, 39 at the end of the month.
Okay, 42.
Yeah.
So we're in that same.
You know what
you
I'm
said
saying?
you said N1 mixtape. But I was like,
Mixtape was fire.
could you imagine what would happen if we had Vine and how stupid we would look?
How stupid we would have, but at least we have the evidence to watch it. But I have no film on that. I have no film on all that.
Oh, because now
Nonsense.
even recording this, we're on a podcast,
Right.
and you see that. But back in our day, you had to have this big MGM
big old
studio.
camera, and then you got a VHS. You put it in, it'd be all grainy.
Oh, you had to be dedicated. The mixtapes. Oh my God, you said the mixtapes. Oh man, and it's funny because when I talk to parents, I talk to players now. They almost have that concept of that's what an NBA workout looks like. Look at that; it looks like a hot sauce mixtape, and boom, 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 and this, and you would be surprised about how granular it is. Like how I had a chance to watch Golden State in the Pacers warm up. I got in there, got to watch, and literally they're focusing on Santos, the B squad. Of boom, like I want you to pick up here, picks up here. Nope, that's wrong. I want to hear. Fingers here. No, I want to hear. And they focus on that small little detail, and it's crazy because I take that back to the youth, and the parents look at me and say, "Well, this trainer's teaching step backs. This trainer's teaching floaters. This trainer's teaching one-handed layups, and you're screaming at my kid because his fingers are down. Like we want to go to the fancy stuff. What do you think parents should be? What are the red flags for player development? If I'm a trainer, if I'm a parent looking at a trainer, what are some of the red flags that you would potentially see of like, no, we don't do that. We do this.
I feel like a big one is like, it doesn't need to be that fancy. Like you don't need a ton of cones, and a ton of balls and throwing them at each other and doing things like that. I think that's a red flag for me because the game at its core is pretty simple. It's a simple game. Draw two, kick, knock it down. That's really what we're looking for. That's pretty much what it is. Create advantage, keep the advantage, and look to score. So when you talk to the people who have been there and done that, they will kind of reiterate the same thing. Like it's a simple game if you make it simple. So if you are a one-on-one player, maybe that's some things you can work on if you've already mastered a lot of the other stuff, or at least are working on the other things, and you can add that to your game. But for me, that's somewhat of a red flag because I think at the age you're talking about, you want to set a really good foundation. That foundation is big, where we talked about the fundamentals earlier. That's a big part. And all those small granular things play more of a part down the line. So if we can learn that earlier and get that as a base, you can go on and do a lot of amazing things from there. But I think when you start young, you're at 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, you kind of want to keep it as fundamental as possible. And keep it fun. You got to keep it fun.
You do.
I see a lot of parents putting a lot of pressure on kids and it kind of burn them out a little bit. You got to keep it fun because that's what it really is about, is finding joy. You don't want your kids to be out there not happy or upset or putting a lot of stress on themselves. You want to see them happy and joyful and working with their teammates and winning games. Obviously, that's fun, but you want to keep it a good spot for them to want to come back to.
Now going back to your coaching resume, can you talk about, if you even have any experience with this, with the players you were coaching and their parents? Now it's not a child-adult relationship. It's not a child-parent. It's adult-adult. Would you know, what are the parents saying? What are the parents doing? Are they still as tense as they were? Are they looser? Are they in the picture? Or is it just, hey, you're in charge of showing up on your own? And
it depends. It all depends. Some families are there at every game. Some of them don't really come around at all. Some may not be able because they're from overseas somewhere. So it kind of changes. At our level, we're kind of more worried about the agents, but it's kind of the same relationship. But you want to be there for your kids. You want to sit there and, if you're looking for a team or some AAU team, you want to go to the practices and understand. Obviously, we've been in the game, so we would be there. But a lot of parents just kind of leave and come back and pick their kids up. But you want to take some of the concepts the coach is teaching your kids and apply them at home, because obviously they want to continue to do their homework, take some of the stuff they learn from their coach and like whether it's ball handling, shooting, and bring it home. And you want to be able to help them with that.
Yeah.
That's a big part.
You mentioned something about I want to drive, I want to create the double, and I want to kick.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a good one-on-one player, and here's the crazy part of this is what I picked up on you saying, hey, the hard part is playing one-on-one. That's the hard part of getting to the basket. You get double teamed. If you could play one-on-one, you could get double teamed. The pass is the easy part. But a lot of players don't work on passing. A lot of players are just one-on-one isolated. And this is something I get frustrated with when I work with kids. And then I say, okay, by the way, when this happens, this is that pass for the double team. And they look at me like, you want to work on passing? I'm like, yeah, like it's a 5-on-5 game.
Yeah.
Do you experience that at the pro level, or is it pretty much?
Yeah, ours are, some people are going to get doubled, whether it's in pick and roll or if it's a big on the block, like, they're going to get doubled. So, yeah, you do have to work on that, and we will drill that. And that's another piece of mastery. Like, when can I go one-on-one? When am I checking to see the double? At our level, you can get past the first player decently easy. I won't say easy, but you're looking more so at the rotation behind it. So whether it's pick and roll or one-on-one, where's the help coming from? Or if I'm on the block, where's the help coming from so I can drive, kick, swing, get an open shot? That's the biggest piece. But yeah, passing is huge. I think it's the first level to reading the game. So once I get doubled, I have to be able to make the next read is who is open. Like, is this person getting denied? Should I be looking inside? Am I looking behind? I'm looking behind the defense to see, because it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 on that backside. So I got to be able to hit that open player and have them make the plays for sure.
So I know in middle school, basically you only have the same read's going to be there every single time. If I get the ball in the post, I know that dig is coming or not digging. It's going to be there the entire time. I would say in high school, there's probably 2 reads for everything. For example, pick and roll. You're going to have option A, which for us, it was an over-under. So we went over and then under. And then we had another one where we switched. Those were the 2 main ones that we focused on. And in the NBA, how many reads do you have per action? Like, coming off a pick and roll for the WNBA and the NBA, would you say you have 5 reads that are potentially there as far as action that you would have to go against? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a lot. Even though it's a simple game, it is a lot going on. So, like, in a pick and roll, where's the screen set? Are they going to go under that? Yeah, then it's an automatic rescreen. You get downhill. And then a lot of the pick and roll starts with the ball handler looking to be aggressive first. Like, you have to be the one to put the pressure on the defense because you got an advantage created for you on the pick and roll. So getting downhill, what I first read is, can I get downhill and attack this big? Oh, I can't. Is my roller there? If the roller's not there and they're helping, you got to tag and you got to skip. So I would say it's probably, how are you being guarded first? When you come off, what's the read after that? And make that simple pass. But you want to try to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah. As
simple as possible. And heavy reps, like 3-on-3 is good. Like playing 3-on-3 and understanding that at a small scale, because you can apply that to the 5-on-5.
That makes that's deep right there. I mean, and I just want players to understand that because I'm over here banging my head on the wall, especially with some parents where I'm like, this is good, this is good. Well, that's just really simple. We need something more complicated. And it's like, it's a game of reads. It's not a game of, I know someone mentioned Anthony Davis, and I haven't done a case study on him, so this is not an educated comment as far as I'm concerned. But they're like, Anthony Davis only has 3 moves. He has the move that he wants, his turn and shoot. If you stop that, he has an up and under. Then if you stop the up and under, he's going to come back and take the shot he wants. And it's like, it's simple, but he's one of the best in the game right now, and he only has 3 moves. But you don't need 500 different moves to go to.
You don't.
And that's what people don't understand is,
and more so than the moves is when to use them. Like, you got to know when to do these things. Like, I feel like a lot of kids are way more skilled than we were in our time. Way more skilled.
Absolutely.
But understanding when to use that skill, when to play fast and play slow as far as pace. Like, you don't have to go 100 miles an hour the entire time, but to go slow to fast is way harder to guard. But then also just reading and understanding the game. I think the problem that I see is there's 7 games 1 week, and you might have practiced 1 time. So, like, we have to kind of flip that around. You see it a lot in Europe where it's the total inverse of that. It's 7 practices in 1 game. So they're really understanding how to play the game and play with each other more so than, hey, I'm going to put 12 guys together. We're just going to play in this AAU tournament and see what happens. So I think we have to, as a culture, take the time to teach the game first and how to play it the right way. and then all the skill development and all the highlight culture that we're kind of going down right now, we can kind of pull back on that so we can be a little bit more of a better basketball society, I guess.
Of course, you would have said I want to end on that one, but no, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's everything we talk about, and that's. I mean, every coach is saying the same thing of like we just need to practice more, but at the same time, having educated practices and not just playing horse, playing knockout. Those games have their time, but if that's all you're doing in practice, you're not getting any better.
Right.
And you do have to have joy in the game.
100%.
You have to have joy in the game. 100%. Switching gears a little bit, you and I have texted back and forth, and we've had conversations. You've mentioned some parents, and you said some good things in regards to parents. What would you recommend a parent do? What should be the role for a player in developing like anybody?
If you're not a basketball person, but your child really likes basketball, I think doing your homework and finding what team to put them on. So like making sure you do your homework. How long has this coach been coaching? I think that's a big one. Has your coach, like I wouldn't be a great coach for a third grade AAU team because I don't work with third graders. So even though it may be attractive, like, oh, this guy worked with all these players and pros and blah, 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 that might not be the best fit because I may be a little bit too far advanced. So understanding that, talking to the other families and coaches and other families and players and, doing your homework, asking like, how is he? Do you like it? Seeing where those players went on to go. I think you got to do your homework because the leadership drives the culture and drives the environment. So that's a huge thing. And making sure you're aligned with that. Like, are my goals for my kids line up with what this person can provide for my kid? I think that's a big one. Alignment is huge. So that'll be the main two things I would really focus on, doing your homework and making sure your goals are aligned with that coach. And from there, just kind of making sure you're involved. Like you want to be involved in some aspect because they're not going to be with the coach every day. They're going to be with you more times than not. So you can take those skills and lessons. You can learn something on your own and make sure you enforce that when they're working by themselves.
I heard a saying the other day, you can't outcoach the house. You can't outcoach the parents.
Right.
And so it's so true that I've seen it happen where I make a really good progress on a parent, on a kid, and then they go home for a week and then they come back and they've just completely flipped. I'm like, what happened? Mom and dad got in them a little bit.
For sure. And I think the coaches need to recruit the parents. Need to recruit the parents as well. Like, do your research on them because sometimes, like you said, you can't outcoach them. So you want to make sure you're getting your message reinforced and the kid is getting the same message at home as he is at the gym.
Here's a concept. When you have an AAU tryout and everyone says, closed gym, I don't want anybody there. And tell me if I'm wrong with this, but would you recommend encourage parents to be there just so you can kind of see that interaction during tryouts?
I think so. I would want to be there. I would want to see what's going on. What am I about to pay for? What is he teaching? I would because I know what I'm looking for in a coach.
But even as a coach, if I'm a coach and I'm running an AAU program, for me, you said that, and I'm kind of like, I would want the parents in the gym. And so when you say something and you hear a parent echo something wrong, you're like, the parents like, all right, I don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's huge. I think I'm right there with you.
You talked about some of you didn't outright say it, but what are some of the green flags of a program that you said, these are 3 things that I would want from a program?
Yeah, I think I would want, depending on what my age my kid is, but I think the fundamentals like we talked about earlier is huge.
So if you see a coach working on fundamentals.
I think that's big. I think at the end of the day, you're trying to make these young people into great adults. So if they're taking life lessons and learning things that apply to the game, I think that's big too, because we're here to create better people at the end of the day through sport. Not everybody's going to be a pro. So
very few are going to be a pro.
Yeah. So how much more can I get out of this environment or out this situation or off this team is a big piece as well. So that'll be a green flag. We're preaching the same message as I am at home. I don't have any kids, by the way, but this is what I would be looking for.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what else would I be looking for? At the older ages, I would want to, if my kid is really into the competitive and we know we want to do this, I think putting them on the right team to get that exposure is big. I don't think it's as young as some people are thinking. A lot of college coaches aren't really looking at high school first like they used to. they got to recruit the portal. They got to recruit their own group. They got to recruit JUCO. Like all these things are starting to be first before the high school kid. So I think you're more focused on that around that junior, senior year area. Like I want to be on the right team, get the right exposure, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So putting them on the teams that do a lot more traveling and go around and get in front of those big coaches, I think it will be big if that's what we want to do as a family.
This is interesting because we're at an age where you played Division II. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't good enough to play college. I loved it. Mm-hmm. And 6'2", decent shooter, terrible ball handler, tough defense though.
I feel like you just shoot it. I feel like you're in the corner just knocking down shots.
But here in Indiana, you throw a stick, you can hit 7 of us.
Right.
Like I ain't nothing special.
That's true.
6'2", not a point guard, not quick. Like I make a great beer league corner guy.
Right.
Like
I love it.
And this is something though where you and I. When you committed to Division II, you were there 4 years. You might have a chance to jump to Division I, but nowadays, and this is me out of my black eye, I gave a player bad advice. I said, you have to go Division I or bust. And I got a couple calls from some people and said, hey, you're better off going NAIA or a Division II school and putting up 30 points and proving everybody wrong, and then getting that attention and say, hey, this guy can now jump levels, compared to before where you and I, once you go Division I, you go Division I. Once you're Division II, you're kind of cemented at that level. And now the advice is take an NAIA position, take a Division III, take a Division II point guard, get out there and play, because if you go Division I and you only average half a point a game or half a point the season, and then that's going to be your characterization the whole 4 years, you're not going to get in except your senior year, compared to, hey, this kid put up 20 at NAIA, a Division II, now you start to recruit, and it's just a landslide that's different. And so going from the recruiter, would you be so quick to dismiss an NAIA school if you're a top guy? Or would you be more entertaining towards a division, maybe a lower Division I or a Division II? Not a top. Yeah. If you're a 5-star recruit, you're going wherever you want. But
I think the most important thing is to go to a place where they want you as much as you want to go there.
Okay.
Like, so going somewhere where you're valued, I think is big. I think from that point, if you do make some noise and you play well, there will be other schools now with the transfer portal who are looking for people who have been there and done that. I actually just had this conversation with a parent not too long ago. So that coaches are looking, their job is to win, especially at the highest level. So they rather get someone who is talented, experienced at a level and showed and proved that they were successful than kind of getting somebody that nobody knows. So the landscape's changed. The landscape is totally different from when I came up.
Absolutely.
You transfer schools, you got to sit out here. Like all that is done. So there is a little bit more of a thought process to it. But I think it starts with going to a school where you're going to be valued and where they really want you. And then from there, you can kind of make your decision, because you may fall in love with that school and stay there your whole career and get your education and move on. Or maybe you don't like it and you got an opportunity to go somewhere else. But I think the landscape has changed too much to give any concrete advice. But I think it starts with going where you want.
And there's something to be said, though, because I know with the guys, I prefer 6th and 7th graders because they have a passion for the game. They're still on fire. I say run through the wall, and they're halfway through the wall before I even get my sentence out. And with the pros, it's more of a job. Like, and sometimes they have that fire. The good ones still maintain that fire and maintain that, but a job can kind of jade you a little bit. Of like, I own a business, and it's a business.
Right. It is a business, and you're getting paid a lot of money in the NBA right now to just kind of be a role player, which is kind of just shocking. A lot of that money was reserved for D guys, and now a lot of people who aren't in the league left with like $90 million. That's a whole nother conversation. But it can become somewhat of a job for sure. It can feel like that for some people, and I think that's on us as coaches. As coaches, I think we need to create it. Like I said, I talk about the word joy a lot. Like, we got to create an environment where it is fun, because when it's fun, people want to learn, people want to be there, people want to be around each other. That's on us as coaches to not make it feel like that and not burn the kids out. Obviously, it's a lot of stress on us, but that's our job, is to make it fun for them.
Yeah, that's all part of stress management. You have to.
Right.
And
right.
I remind people of this, especially people on my staff, of like, hey, pressure is a blessing. Not a lot of people have a chance to,
100%.
not a lot of people have the chance to sit in the chairs you've sat in.
Mm-hmm.
And that pressure that you felt on your shoulders of everyone watching you is that's a 1% of the people get that
100%.
opportunity.
1,000%.
That's awesome, man. Jhared, I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
And then we're out, okay?
Yeah.
You wake up tomorrow, you're named the commissioner of basketball for the world, or at least for America. And you get to make one rule change right off the bat. You get to sign, hey, this is the new rule, and everybody has to follow it. I've had one person say 4-point line. I have had people say they should have a mechanical coach at every program to teach you how to run, jump, skip. Some people are limiting AAU games. What does Jhared Simpson say? This is the rule that I'm going to put in, and why?
This is a little bit deep, but I would have somebody who is skilled in mental health on every staff.
Ooh.
It'd be a mandatory thing. I think we're in this culture now with social media and all the outside pressure and outside noise these kids are really dealing with at a young age. We need someone to kind of study it, understand it, and help guide our youth through it. I think that's a big piece because that kind of deters a lot of people from continuing to play or dealing with a lot of mental health issues or really putting a lot of stress on themselves. And like I said, this is to have fun and especially at a young age and be joyful and excited about playing. So I think for me, that'd be something that I would mandate. I would mandate that.
Crazy. That's cool. That's a good one. That's an awesome one. So you're saying every program, every AAU program would have some mental health involvement in coach and someone to help. Now, would it be just players, or would the coaches have to do
coaches
it too?
Too. Like, y'all understand how much stress we're under. Like, we're under a ton of. We gotta go win, and we gotta figure it out, but we gotta do it the right way so we don't make other people upset. But no, it'd be for everybody. I think we're all kind of facing this huge mental health crisis, which is kind of a buzzword right now. But I think it's something we need to take the time to really dig into and really understand that because it affects us both on and off the court.
No, it's so true. It's so true. I mean, and I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. And it's different because I remember 10 years ago, I don't want to say I rip kids. I'm not a ripper. For me, if you rip me, I'm like, whatever, I don't care. But the second you put an arm around me and just talking to me, hey, Paul, I'm just let down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you can't talk to me that way. Like, but, you just screamed at me across the court and it off your chest. Like,
right.
And so that's me as a person. And so the whole mental health of kids nowadays, I don't rip a whole lot. I'm a talker. I'm not a ripper. But I have kids just crying in my warm-up, like just tears. And I'm like, I remember 10 years ago that wasn't a thing. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw a kid cry, and it happens all the time. And but then also I look over and the parents are. I have 4 kids, and this is the parenting advice I live by. And if you ever have the opportunity to have kids, I always recommend this. Don't ever ask your kids to do something you wouldn't do yourself. And so I'm not gonna say I'm an Adonis and I got my 6-pack, but I work out. And I try to take care of myself. I try to watch what I put in my mouth. But when I see this kid over here crying in tears, and then I see a parent over there that can't run a mile in 20 minutes, I'm kind of like, do you not see how you're not, if you have kids and you say, hey, do the 2-ball, and you get out there and you do it, I'm like, okay, Pops has got some skill. Like, let's do this. But holding your kid to the same standard and the mental health you just said, it just opened up a whole.
Yeah, it's a serious thing, man. Like I think, a lot, and which I might have opened a can of worms here, but
let's hear it.
A lot of parents who haven't played live vicariously through their kids, and with that, they're coming at the game from this place of they didn't have that opportunity or they weren't good enough, and they're really like dumping that on their kids and adding that stress to their kid. When in actuality, that shouldn't be the case. Like, you're there to support and be excited. Like, yeah, you want them to do well, and obviously you are paying a lot of money. Like, I get all that. But like, it goes back to what are your values? What are you trying to get out of it? And are you aligned with the coach? Like, I think that all kind of plays a part, but we're dumping all this pressure, this added pressure, and all your kids want to do is make you proud.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I wanted to ever do for my father, for my mother, whatever, is just to make them proud. So they already feel that, or at least most of them do. They already feel that. So to add it on top kind of makes it tough. And maybe you got to come up with some type of system within your household to not make it always about basketball or make it always about the sport. But it's a lot of pressure on these kids. And then you get the outside, like I said, this highlight culture. like just recording these kids all the time, and oh, you got dunked on. Like now you got people not making the right rotations when they know the rotation because they don't get dunked on because it's gonna be all over social media that night.
And you may do it right. You may do it right 9 times. You could do it right 99% of the time. The one time you don't rotate and that's the dunk,
right?
No one's gonna. And the crazy part is you don't even know the score.
Exactly.
That may be the only 2 points that kid put up.
Yeah. And now it's all over there.
He walked around winning the day like, oh, I'm LeBron. And it's crazy because in the same thing, I played football in high school and I played basketball and I did a lot of other sports. And I love watching. I love sitting around my family on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Mm-hmm. Well, because now Christmas, the NFL's on Christmas. That's a whole other conversation. It's blasphemy. But like I see, oh well, why can't you catch that pass? That's the easiest pass. I could have caught that pass. Mm-hmm. As everyone has their wine in their hand and like, well, that guy has a 360-pound lineman chasing him down.
Right.
Like that is not an easy pass. Right. Like, and are you familiar with Dunning-Kruger?
I'm not.
So it's a study that says when you can look at something and say that's simple, you don't understand it. Mm. And this is a life advice that a lot of people take from me. And you hear me if you step in here, you'll hear me say it. If you start off a conversation with all you got to do is automatically check out. Mm. All you got to do is catch the ball. All you got to do is rebound. Mm-hmm. And for me as a trainer, well, all you got to do is just teach your kids how to dribble. Oh, that's all I got to do. I don't have to maintain a relationship. I don't have to maintain intensity. I don't have to watch my language. I have to think the right thing to say. I have to think the wrong thing to say and not say that. Like there's so many things going on in your head. And so, for example, prime example of Curry, you see Curry shoot and you look at that and everything's like, oh, that's simple. That's simple. Look at it. That's simple. And then you being on the side that you on and me being on the side that I'm on, I'm like, that's complicated. That's probably the most complicated shot you'll ever see because it's so simple.
Right.
And so the parents don't understand, well, Steph Curry hit this corner 3 fadeaway. Ray Allen hit that corner 3 fadeaway to win a championship. Why can't you do it? And you're like, that's hard. And you being in your position, and being in my position, you can look at the greats and you can say, I can't do that. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of parents that never played oversimplify it and say, well, all you got to do is just grab the rebound 2 hands. Mm-hmm. I was getting boxed out. I got my knees taken out. Never mind, I had a guy poke me in the eye. Never mind the fact that I had guys rip my arm down. Mm-hmm. And you want me to go up there? It's like, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard.
It's hard. And the great ones make it look easy. That's the thing. But how much time and how much effort did they put into that you don't see to make that look easy? Like I worked with Lexi Hall her entire career thus far. And we were in the gym every day, all the time before practice. She would stay after practice and get so many shots for her to shoot just 3 or 4 in a game and knock them down. Like, oh, she's shooting great. Yeah, but she put in a ton of time. Not even to talk about all the years prior to her making it to the pros. Like all that time for that moment to make that look easy.
You would say probably 1,000 shots per one shot? Would you say, or probably more?
Probably 1,000.
1,000. So you take 3 shots in a game. Yeah. You're taking 3,000 shots
easy
by yourself.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, easy.
And people don't understand that.
They don't understand it. You don't understand.
They just see the game and say that's all you got. Jhared, first off, let me say thank you for showing up and thank you for sharing. Yeah. I don't know who's listening, but like I just want people to understand that there's some powerful things. If I'm a young player. If I'm a parent, I'm going back through this thing and I'm taking 4 pages of notes easily on the conversation.
That's good.
You shared a lot of great insights, and I really thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I appreciate you sharing.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and hopefully I can come back soon. If you guys are interested in anything, you can follow me at Coach Vision Hoops. It's a small thing that I'm working on, more so for coaching development.
Okay.
So really helping coaches master their leadership skills, their communication skills, their ability to build relationships, just kind of the soft skills in the career development, kind of putting everything down on a piece of paper. So follow me there at Coach Vision Hoops, and hopefully I'll be on again.
At CoachVisionHoops.com.
At Coach Vision Hoops on Instagram.
On Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. No. I want to make sure people understand that. Yeah. Make sure you follow him. And just to dig into that a little bit, is that for young coaches, like what's the ambition?
It's young coaches. I'm really focusing on that young coach, kind of trying to be a mentor for the next generation of coaches. I think we're going to see a huge landscape shift for coaching in general, but a lot of the soft skills are going to always be there.
Yeah.
So kind of invest in yourself, pour into yourself. I share a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, and maybe I might start like some type of curriculum or something. But yeah, at Coach Vision Hoops, career development and mentorship.
Whatever we can do for that, we want to help you, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you,
Thanks
Jhared.
again. Appreciate it.
it, man.